What's going on, everyone? Badger here. Sure to like and sub, and let's get into this. Really, really good news, finally. I know you'd think it'd be something horrible. No, it's not, at least in my estimation. And that is that Denis Villeneuve, the director from the Dune movies and upcoming Dune Messiah, is going to be directing James Bond. And the things he says and who he cites as his favorite James Bond make me think that, okay, even though it's Amazon, even though it's still with Amazon, everything he said, he has enough social clout and working power to like bat off the DEI and hopefully give a good story with a compelling character of the Bond that we know and love, i.e., not Aaron Pierre, which was the last time we talked about potential casting news or rumors, but also that he was just possibly one of the many people being eyed and that they most likely hadn't even talked to him yet. But also, maybe perhaps they were trying to float the idea out there and it was soundly rejected. And if you're wondering why we haven't already gotten a Bond or a black Bond or a black female Bond, it's because of one woman who's no longer there. And that was Barbara Broccoli, the essentially the owner of the legacy owner of James Bond for many, many, many years. Originally her father. After Amazon paid $8.5 billion for James Bond, that came with Barbara. And Barbara was the one that stopped them from totally wokeifying Bond and totally modern daying it. They paid her $1 billion to get rid of her. As you can see down here, back from World of Rio, when it said Amazon wanted the whole enchilada. And that comes with a Bond franchise which spawned 25 movies, totaling 7.6 billion worldwide receipts. But what most fans fear is Amazon MGM treating Bond as content rather than a prestigious movie franchise that has had every detail from martinis to tuxedos micromanaged by the Picolis for the better part of 50 years. So they're gone. So when we start hearing things about Aaron Pierre as Bond, it's entirely possible now that there's no one there. And yet we're getting the director of Dune, Denis. So the things he said make me feel very hopeful about his future. And told this to Variety. He said, some of my earliest movie-going memories are connected to 007. I grew up watching James Bond films with my father. Ever since Dr. No was Sean Connery, I'm a die-hard Bond fan. To me, he's sacred territory. That right there, saying that, and Sean Connery is the superior James Bond, followed only by Pierce Brosnan, and then everyone else. It's sort of just a mix of different reasons. But Sean Connery is James Bond. That is your archetype. That's who you need to get, or Pierce Brosnan, somewhere in there. So he says, I intend to honor the tradition and open the path for many new missions to come. This is a massive responsibility. Another great thing. When people talk about these legacy projects, when they mention the responsibility, I mean, say what you want about whatever is going to happen with Superman and James Gunn. When David Corenswet talks about it, the first thing he says is the responsibility he feels of playing Superman and making sure he gets it right. And when Denis starts talking about doing Bond and he says that responsibility and he wants a sacred territory, I like that. I like that a lot. He says, but also incredibly exciting for me and a huge honor. Now, these are who we have to worry about, Amy Pascal and David Heyman. Got to keep our eye on them. But he says, and I am absolutely thrilled to bring him back to the screen with them. Thank you to Amazon MGM Studios for their trust. Previously, when talking about Bond, Villeneuve said, it's a character that I've been with, like everybody, since my childhood. I have a massive affection for Bond. It would be a big challenge for the people who will try to reboot and bring something new after what Daniel did, talking about Daniel Craig. What Daniel Craig brought to Bond was so unique and strong and probably unmatchable. He's probably the ultimate Bond. Now that worries me a little bit because he's definitely not the ultimate Bond. In fact, I think he's the most flawed. He boo-boo-bee-booed about whatever Eva Green's character for Vester for 3 movies. Anyway, either way, maybe he just meant like he's also had the physicality and things like that. Still gonna have Sean Connery and Pierce Brosnan as my benchmark, and either way, the sacred territory and the responsibility he feels, that's definitely helpful. We also heard MGM talk about his casting here. This is the head of the MGM Studios, Mike Hopkins, who took over after we got rid of Jennifer Salke's role because she was so horrible. We are honored that Denis has agreed to direct James Bond's next chapter. He's a cinematic master whose filmography speaks for itself, from Blade Runner 2049 to Arrival to the Dune films, and I like all of them. He has delivered compelling worlds, dynamic visuals, complex characters, and most importantly, the immersive storytelling that global audiences yearn to experience in theaters. James Bond is in the hands of one of today's greatest filmmakers, and we cannot wait to get 007 on his next adventure. Also, then the ones we got to watch out for, Pascal and Heyman said that Denis Villeneuve has been in love with James Bond movies since he was a little kid. It was always his dream to make this movie, and now it's ours too. We are lucky to be in the hands of this extraordinary filmmaker. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So again, talking about committing, we are committed to honoring the legacy of this iconic character. Careful, while bringing in a fresh, exhilarating new chapter to audiences around the world alongside Amy and David. So worry still about any sort of Money Penny spinoffs or Felix Leiter, even though I would have been more applicable to that one, I thought. I'm ever so slightly cautiously hopeful about Denis and his take. Now let's see who he tries to cast as his main James Bond. But based on what he said, I think we're a lot less likely to get like an Aaron Pierre than we are someone who actually looks like James Bond, i.e. maybe a Henry Cavill or something similar. So let me know what you think about this. By all means, make sure to like, share, and sub. If you have done that, thank you. If you're going to do that, thank you. And
well, bye.